They never hit you. They never screamed. And that is exactly why it hurts so much. There is a certain kind of parenting that leaves no physical or emotional scars. It never forgets a birthday. It never misses a school play. On paper, it looks completely normal. But inside the child who lives through it, something quietly erodes. Not with violence, not with cruelty, but with silence, with distance, with the steady message that who you are is never quite enough. This is the psychology of bad parenting. By the end of this video, you will understand how invisible moments of emotional absence can shape an entire lifetime. You will see how children learn to disappear in order to survive. And most importantly, you will discover how to finally stop earning the love you always deserved for free. The living room lights were dim. A weak orange glow from a table lamp fell across the carpet where Noah sat, legs crossed, building something with blocks that never quite fit together. His hands moved with quiet focus, stacking one piece on another. Carefully, precisely, as if this time, maybe, the tower would stand tall enough to be noticed. The front door opened with a sudden thud. Boots scraped against the floor. Noah did not look up. He already knew what would happen next. His father's voice filled the house with laughter, not at Noah, but at his little brother, Levi, who came sprinting down the hallway. Their father dropped his bag, bent down, and scooped Levi into his arms with the kind of hug you remember for the rest of your life. Noah did not move. He did not even flinch anymore. He just pressed another block onto his crooked tower and pretended he could not hear Levi giggling from the other room. He always tried not to look, but he always did. His father never said anything cruel to him, never yelled, never hit. He just did not see him. Not really, not in the way a child needs to be seen. And that kind of silence is louder than any scream. Noah learned something very early in life, that love was something you had to earn. That your presence alone was not enough, that being quiet, obedient, and easy to manage might not get you punished, but it would never get you chosen either. He stopped bringing home his drawings from school. He stopped asking to be tucked in at night. By the time he turned 9, he had already learned how to disappear in a room full of people. And worst of all, no one noticed he was fading. Here is what makes this so invisible. No one ever thinks of this as bad parenting. There were no bruises, no public outbursts. On paper, his childhood looked perfectly average. However, in Noah's inner world, a quiet kind of erosion was occurring, one invisible moment at a time. Psychologists call this emotional neglect. It is not what happens to a child. It is what does not happen. The comfort that never comes, the curiosity about their inner life that is never expressed. The steady message that their emotional needs are either invisible or inconvenient. And here is what happens inside the brain when this becomes the norm. A child's nervous system is designed to seek safety through connection. When that connection is inconsistent or absent, the brain interprets it as a sign of danger. Cortisol, the stress hormone, floods the system repeatedly. Over time, the child's entire neurology reorganizes itself around a single mission. Do not disturb, do not need, do not be too much. The body learns to expect rejection before it even happens, and that expectation becomes a filter through which every future relationship is seen. A child learns very quickly what parts of themselves are welcome, and what parts are not, so they hide the rest. They become a version of themselves that is easier to love. Years later, Noah sits across from a girl he really likes. She is talking about her day, something about her boss, her deadlines, and how stressed she has been. He listens, he nods, he offers advice. She smiles politely. She does not ask about his day. She never has, and Noah does not offer it. Not because he does not want to, but because deep down he does not believe it matters. He has become the person everyone can rely on, but no one really knows. He answers texts immediately. He apologizes even when it is not his fault. He He says yes to things he does not want to do. He is always available, always agreeable, always there, but never quite real. People call him kind, thoughtful, such a good listener. They do not realize that beneath all of that kindness is someone who never learned how to say 4 simple words. I need something too. This is what poor parenting can do over time. It does not always come with chaos. Sometimes it is the absence of warmth, the absence of attention, the small daily dismissals that teach a child their feelings are a burden. Their needs are too much, that love is a transaction, and affection must be earned. Noah's father was not cruel. He just had his favorites. He gave Levi the warmth, the energy, the presence. For Noah, there were rules, expectations, standards. He could get a B and be told to aim for an A. He could win a race and hear nothing at all. He could hurt himself and be told to walk it off. He tried harder. He spoke more softly. He smiled more. He thought if he could just become the perfect son, maybe one day he would get picked up too. But that day never came, and so he grew up believing that connection was conditional. People stay as long as you meet their needs. That love is fragile, and he must work tirelessly to hold it together. At work, Noah became the employee everyone admired, but no one truly saw. First one in, last one out, he took on projects no one else wanted. He stayed late to help colleagues meet their deadlines. He thought if he just worked hard enough, achieved enough, someone would finally recognize his value. But promotions went to louder voices. Recognition went to those who asked for it. And Noah kept giving, kept performing, kept disappearing into his own usefulness. Because somewhere deep inside, he still believed that his worth was measured by how much he produced, not by who he was. Now, as an adult, Noah finds himself in friendships where he is the one giving advice but never receiving it. In workplaces where he is praised for being dependable but never promoted. In relationships where he molds himself to be whatever the other person wants, until he forgets who he actually is. He does not speak up when he is hurt. He does not set boundaries. He fears conflict like it is a threat to his very existence. And worst of all, he blames himself for every disconnection. Because that is what emotional neglect teaches you. It does not just hurt the child in the moment. It teaches them patterns that cause pain for years to come. Noah carries a quiet sadness with him. Not the kind you cry about, the kind you live with, the kind that builds a home in your bones and makes you feel tired even when you have done nothing at all. But here is the truth he never learned. It was never his fault. No child is responsible for the emotional blindness of their parents. No child is supposed to earn their place in a family. Children are not employees. They are not emotional investments. They are souls waiting to be held, seen, understood. And when that does not happen, when the blueprint of your worth is built on conditional love, it follows you everywhere. You see it in how Noah tiptoes around people's moods, how he checks in but never checks out, how he says it is okay when it is not, how he offers pieces of himself hoping someone will finally notice the empty space inside him. But no one does, because he has gotten too good at hiding it, and deep down he knows this is not what living is. It is performing. Yet even now a part of him still hopes that maybe one day someone will walk through the door, look past Levi, and see him. Not the helpful version, not the polite version, but the boy who sat building towers that always fell, just to be seen. If you recognize yourself in Noah's story, type 1 in the comments. If this describes someone you know, type 2. Sometimes just naming what we feel is the first step toward changing it. What Noah never realized is that millions of people feel exactly the same way. People who were praised for achievements but never comforted in failure. People who were never yelled at were also never celebrated. People who learned to be useful instead of being loved. They grow up with a silent ache, and unless they face it, name it and unravel it, they pass it on. Not because they want to, but because what we never heal, we often repeat. This is the generational pattern of emotional neglect. A parent who was unseen raises a child who feels unseen, not out of cruelty, but out of blind spots they never examined. Where are you watching this video from right now? Type your country in the comments. Whether you are in the United States, the Philippines, South Africa, or Canada, know that this message reaches across borders, because emotional neglect does not have a nationality. It speaks every language. Noah learned to smile when he was hurting. He learned to nod when he was misunderstood. He became an expert in emotional translation, turning heartache into politeness, fear into silence, longing into helpfulness, because in his childhood, every time he showed a genuine emotion, it would disappear into nothing. So he adapted. He stopped needing anything at all. On the surface, but inside, he needed everything. Most people would never guess. On the outside, Noah's life looked stable. Responsible job, kind demeanor, well liked, but under the surface was a current of confusion. He did not know how to ask for help. He did not know how to rest. He did not know what it felt like to be emotionally safe. Not because anything dramatic had happened, but because too many important things did not. And that is what the psychology of bad parenting reveals. Not always harshness, but emptiness. The subtle message that who you are is not quite enough. That your value lies in how little you ask, how well you behave, how much do you give. So Noah became a giver, always checking in on people, always being available, always holding space for others to fall apart. But when it was his turn, he pulled away. He did not want to be a burden. He did not want to be too much of a bother. And somewhere inside, he believed he did not deserve the same kind of care he gave so freely to others. That is what emotional neglect teaches you, that your role is to serve, not to receive, that love is earned, not given. That is the best way to avoid rejection, is to become indispensable. But indispensability is not the same as intimacy. And Noah felt that difference in every quiet moment. After the messages were sent, the calls ended, the plans were cancelled, he sat with the ache of being everyone's go-to, but no one's first thought. He did not know how to express this, so he turned it inward. Maybe I am not interesting enough. Maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe I am just hard to love. But it was not true. It never was. Here is what Noah could not see yet. The very things that made him shrink were also his greatest hidden gifts. His ability to read a room before anyone else spoke. His capacity to sense pain that others completely overlook. His depth of feeling that most people will never access. These were not flaws. They were survival intelligence. Misdirected, yes, but powerful beyond measure. The same sensitivity that made him disappear could also make him extraordinarily present for others. The empathy born from his own invisibility gave him the rare ability to truly see people. Noah was never broken. He was a finely tuned instrument playing the wrong song. The truth is, when children grow up emotionally unseen, they learn to disappear. They become friend who never interrupts, the partner who avoids conflict, the employee who takes on extra work. They live to maintain harmony, often at the cost of their own humanity. And when someone finally does offer real care, they do not trust it. They flinch, they downplay their needs, they sabotage closeness, not because they want to, but because deep down it feels foreign, unsafe, temporary. Noah did not realize this for years. He just kept trying harder, kept showing up for people who never reciprocated, kept wondering why nothing ever really felt secure. Until one day, he reached his limit. It was not dramatic. There was no meltdown, no big moment. It was a quiet evening. He sat in his apartment scrolling through a conversation where, once again, he had said yes when he meant no. He felt the familiar heaviness in his chest, not panic, not sadness, just hollow. And in that moment, something broke. But gently, he whispered something he had not dared to say aloud since he was a child. I think I am tired of earning love. He did not know what would come next, but for the first time, he was not trying to put on a show. He was not trying to fix it. He just let the truth settle. And that is where healing begins. Not in grand breakthroughs, but in small moments of self-honesty. The quiet rebellion of choosing your own emotional reality over the one you were handed as a child. Noah started asking himself harder questions. Why do I always say yes? Why do I apologize when I've done nothing wrong? Why do I feel guilty when I set a boundary? And slowly he began to see the pattern. He had been raised in a world where love was quiet and selective, where his feelings were inconvenient, where his presence was tolerated, not treasured. Of course, he became a people pleaser. Of course, he feared being disliked. Of course, he overfunctioned in relationships. It made sense, but it did not have to stay that way. So he started small, he declined a plan he didn't want to attend. He did not apologize for it. He did not over-explain, just no. And the world did not collapse. He told a close friend for the first time that he felt unseen in their friendship. He spoke gently but clearly, and even though it was hard, he felt lighter afterward. He started writing again, not to prove anything, not to be praised, just to remember how it felt to hear his own voice. And over time, the layers of performance began to peel away. Not all at once. There were setbacks. There were days when he fell back into old roles. But there was also progress, new connections, a deeper understanding of who he was beyond the roles he had played. He learned that parenting does not stop in childhood. It continues in how we parent ourselves, in how we speak to our inner voice, whether we abandon or comfort our younger self when old wounds resurface. Noah was not broken, he was conditioned, and once he saw that, he began to make different choices. This is the deeper psychology of bad parenting. It is not about blame, it is about recognition. Recognition that silence can shape a child's identity, that absence can echo louder than presence, that emotional needs are ignored becomes emotional patterns repeated. But patterns are not destiny, they are scripts, and scripts can be rewritten. Noah still struggles sometimes. He still catches himself smiling when he is not okay. Still hears the old voice in his head that says, "Do not bother them, just be easy." But now he answers it, "I do not have to be easy to be loved." That simple phrase has changed everything, because emotional intelligence is not just about understanding others. It is about understanding the landscapes within ourselves, the places we abandoned, the feelings we buried, the needs we silenced. And the most beautiful part is this: Noah is learning to be the parent he never had, not for someone else, for himself. He is learning to sit with his own discomfort, to validate his own feelings, to see the small boy who built towers alone in the corner and whisper, "I see you. I am here. You never needed to earn this." That is how generational patterns end, not with blame, but with compassion, not with shouting, but with soft truth. It is never too late to choose differently, because we do not become whole by being perfect. We become whole by being honest. And for the first time in his life, Noah is no longer disappearing. He is beginning to exist fully, imperfectly, honestly. And that is enough.